My name is Dr. Samir Islam, and let's talk about poop. Is that it? Hi, my name is Dr. Samir Islam, and I'm a board-certified gastroenterologist and hepatologist practicing here in Lubbock, Texas. I'm from West Texas. I am bred West Texas. I know the people here. I've been here practically my whole life. When I went to other places, both around the United States, around Texas, it didn't feel like home. That wasn't home for me. This is home. The people here, they're my people. This is where I wanted to have my family raised and also to help out the people of West Texas. For me, being a physician is always something I've always wanted to be for my whole life. I want to take care of people, and that's something for me that's very important for me to do, and it's been instilled in my values. And for me, being a physician is probably the best way I can take care of people. The good thing about GI, for me at least, is that it's a very difficult field because it involves a lot of different organs within the body. It's also a field in which I can use my hands. I'm a hands-on type of physician. I like to take care of patients not only in a mental sense, but also physically as well by doing procedures and whatnot. I've been blessed to get training at some of the big centers in the United States, specifically at the Mayo Clinic. I got my gastroenterology and hepatology training there, and I was able to bring that knowledge and that type of medical setting into the West Texas area and hopefully bring some new ideas and also some new procedures that are being done here as well that are not being done pretty much anywhere else in Texas. So, for me, I like having fun. I like to make sure that I'm having a good time, but also want to make sure that I'm doing a good job. Number one for me is making sure I'm a good physician. But in doing that, if I could have a little fun, enjoy myself, wear some cool socks, for me, that makes my day worthwhile. So I think for me, the most important thing is knowing that I'm actually doing something to save people's lives, honestly, because by doing these procedures that I do, I know that I'm preventing people from developing colon cancers. But also, too, I'm able to do procedures that a lot of other people are not able to do, not only in Texas, but also in the West Texas area. There's a tremendous amount of satisfaction knowing that I'm able to change people's lives for the better to help them with their symptoms all throughout their GI tract. So for me, that's probably the most important thing that I can have. At least that makes my day worthwhile for sure. Alright guys, I am having some technical difficulties here. So give me one quick second here. Let me make sure I got... Oh, there we go. Perfect. Alright guys, thank you for joining me today on my Poop Tip Tuesday. So I thought I'd do a little intro. For those of you guys who don't know me, my name is Dr. Islam. And yes, I am your poop guru. Every Tuesday around this time, I do a Facebook, YouTube Live where I go on the social media channels to explain questions you guys may have. If you haven't already, don't forget to smash that like button. Like, share, and subscribe. Let me know if you're watching this live and on the replay. And I really want to know where you guys are watching this at. Carol, it's great seeing you. Mona Lisa, it's great seeing you as well. And B, it's great seeing you guys on the live videos. I am excited. Thank you so much. It's been 1 week. Can you believe it? 1 week since we've opened up our new spot. I appreciate those of you guys who have come to see me there. I appreciate your patience. It's a lot of change, some turnover, trying to figure out new processes, new things going on. So I really, 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 really appreciate your patience. And I would love to see if I can see you guys in my new office. And if you are itching for an appointment, don't worry, I'll put a link down below how you can get a hold of me. All right, I'm excited. We have some great questions today that we're going to talk about. Diana, it's great seeing you as well. Angela, it's good seeing you. And Marie, good seeing you guys as well on the live videos. All right, so 5 main questions I have today that I got this week. And as usual, if you have a live question you want to ask me, let me know in the comments. I will get to them at the very end of the live video. Question number 1, Dr. Islam. So what are the main differences between all of the acid medications that are out there? Okay, how many of you guys, let me know in the comments, suffer from reflux? heartburn, indigestion. I know this is a significant problem. I have this problem myself, even though I try to eat healthy and I try to live a good lifestyle. Despite all that I do, I still have acid reflux. And so I have to take medications myself. And actually, I am very fine doing that. But a lot of people have asked me, hey, why are some medications working and why are other medications not working for my acid reflux? So in general, when it comes to acid reflux, most of the medications that are out there are things like Prilosec, Nexium, Dexilant, Pepcid. They all pretty much work in the exact same mechanism. They actually stop the acid cells from producing, and by doing that, you actually prevent that acid from going up into the esophagus and feeling that burning that's there. However, there are some subtle differences between every single one of them, which is why for some people they may notice one particular medication works better than another medication, or they may have a better response with one medication versus another. So for example, omeprazole tends to work the quickest. You tend to get the fastest response from that. Another example is Dexilant. Dexilant is one of those medications in which you do not have to take on an empty stomach. You can take it before meals or after meals. And so there are these subtle differences that we know as a GI doctor that will allow me to determine which is going to be the best option for you. So for some people, if you're on one medication, let's say you're on Nexium, and you don't do well with that, and we switch you to another one, maybe like Acifex, you may notice a complete different response. And there's a reason for that. Some of these are metabolized differently, and because of that change in the metabolism, this can affect what actually goes on in terms of your response to these medications. So it's a very great question. If you're suffering from acid reflux, a lot of things that you can do. Medications work, but certainly diet can play a role and lifestyle changes can help out as well. However, reflux is one of those conditions in which you can do everything right. And I'm the prime example of this. I try to do everything right, but despite this, I still have acid reflux. It can be very frustrating for a lot of my patients because of that. But I will tell you, it really is not a big deal. These medications are typically very, very safe, even if you have to take them long term. All right, good. Carol, I'm going to answer this question right now. You take Prevacid daily. Is that too much? So Carol, it's a very good question. I cannot answer that question specifically for you, but what I can tell you is that it is I try to have an approach in which I can get you off your medications as much as you can. And so having said that though, there are certain conditions in which you have to be on an acid medication. Number one, if you have an ulcer, no questions asked, you need to be on an acid medication. Number two, if you're on a blood thinner or on a high-dose steroid or on a medication like a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory medication, Aleve, naproxen, Advil, Motrin, you have to be on an acid medication. Number three, if you have a condition called Barrett's esophagus, which is a precancerous lesion of the esophagus from chronic acid reflux, you have to be on an acid medication. And number four, if you're on a blood thinner, you have to be on an acid medication. And then lastly, if you're getting symptomatic relief, you may want to be on a medication. Having said that, if you don't fit any of those criteria, you don't necessarily have to be on a medication. And there are things that you can do. There are over-the-counter treatments. There are herbs that I recommend. There are lifestyle changes that actually do work for some people to help out with your acid reflux. So Carol, it really just depends on what your clinical condition is and also what is going on for your body as well. Great question. All right, perfect. Question number 2, Dr. Islam. Do you really need 8 glasses of water a day to get hydrated? So how many of you guys, let me know in the comments, have you heard about this health, I wouldn't say myth, but let's say myth, this health concept where you have to drink 8 glasses of water per day to keep yourself hydrated? How many of you guys have heard about this? Because I have heard about this my whole entire life. My parents always pounded on me, make sure you drink 8 glasses of water per day so you can stay hydrated and so you can not be thirsty. So is there any medical evidence for this? So this actually came to fruition in an old study back in 1945, in which they got a number of people. They determined what their caloric intake was. They determined based on that how much water that they needed, and they came to a conclusion that you needed 8 ounces of water you needed 8 glasses. I apologize, 8 glasses of water per day. But if it's interesting when you look at the actual study, they actually included foods that have water. So they didn't really specify 8 glasses of water, but 8 glasses of water totally, including both food and with liquids. So
Repeat studies have not shown this to be clinically accurate. It's a complete myth. There's no evidence for that. You really do not need 8 glasses of water to be hydrated. Your body does a fantastic job of regulating how much water that you should take. If you're thirsty and you drink water, that is your body's way of telling you you need to drink more water. If you're not thirsty and you don't drink water, that is your body's way of telling you you don't need to have any more water. And so your body does a fantastic job of keeping that balance in check. Your body does not want too much water or too less water, and it does the job it needs to do to make sure it's within that balance. Now, there are some things you may have heard about. So, for example, drinking caffeine. Drinking caffeine has been known to be a diuretic, meaning that you pee out more. But when you look at the grand scheme of things, the amount of liquid that's in caffeine and the amount of water that you drink far outweighs the amount of water you may be losing whenever you have caffeine. It's a little bit different with alcohol. So alcohol has been known to cause you to become dehydrated. And this is actually true because alcohol actually blocks the hormones that makes you thirsty. And so you actually end up peeing a lot more. You don't drink, you don't feel as thirsty. And because that, you actually do become hydrated. But overall, this myth of where you need to drink 8 glasses of water per day, complete myth, no evidence for this. You don't have to worry about this. If you're not like one of those, because I'm not, that tries to drink 8 glasses of water per day, you are perfectly fine. Drink when you're thirsty. Don't drink when you're not thirsty. Not a big deal. You should be okay otherwise. Perfect. All right, so good question. I'm going to answer some of these questions really quick. So, Lisa, you have a very good question. I drink a gallon a day. Is that too much? Asking because I swell so much, I'm taking more something than ever. So let's talk about this. So I will tell you this. So far, the clinical evidence doesn't suggest you need to drink a gallon of water per day. Now, there are some medical conditions that can occur if you drink too much water. It's called hyponatremia, meaning your sodium level will be very, very low. That is a very dangerous condition to have. Now, if you want to drink a lot of water and you're peeing it out and you're not having issues with your sodium being low, typically it should be okay. But if you overdo it, that's where you can err on the side of causing too many problems. Your body does a fantastic job of letting you know that if you're drinking too much water or too less water. So I would actually use your body as a guide to know if you're having enough water or not. If you feel thirsty, that is the time to drink. Or if you feel like you need to have something, that is the time to drink. But beyond that, there really is no clinical evidence that you have to drink more and more of that water. Now, I'll tell you, if you're trying to drink water to maybe make yourself feel full so you don't eat, that actually does work. There's very good evidence for that for weight loss. But in general, you don't really have to drink as much water as what you have been told to keep yourself hydrated. So Marie, very good question. Does water help keep the bowels flowing better? You know, it's a very interesting question. And I thought about this for a long time. And it's kind of weird. You know, as a GI doctor, I think about poop all the time. It's in my mind. And so I heard this. And I was thinking to myself, you know, I've heard this my whole life. I tell my patients this. I know that some patients it does benefit. But what is the clinical evidence behind that? And guess what? We actually don't have any evidence whether increasing water is going to increase the amount of bowel movements that you have. Now, intuitively, it makes sense. You know, you're drinking more water, you're having more liquid. Maybe it'll flush things through, but there are actually not any clinical trials to suggest this. So, to be frank with you, Marie, I don't think we know the answer to that. There's very little harm in doing that. I think most people do drink enough water, and there are some of my patients who do notice if they don't drink enough water, they can become more constipated. But in terms of actual clinical evidence and medical evidence, I don't think, and I know for a fact actually, we do not have any good evidence that it makes a difference. I'll tell you what does make a difference by far is diet. So adding prebiotic fibers, prebiotic wheat, having wheat dextrin, having a plant-based diet, that actually does make a difference when it comes to bowel habits. That's more important, in my opinion, than trying to supplement more and more water. Even though water is good, you're not going to get as much bang for your buck as you would for having a change in your diet. Very good question. Perfect. All right. Question number 3, Dr. Islam, I am constantly bloated with constipation. What is going on? So this is a very common correlation is constipation and bloating. So the best analogy I have, it's your GI tract is one long tube. If part of your tube is blocked up or things are not passing out or you still have stuff in there, it's going to backflow all the way up like a clogged pipe and you're going to get bloated. Distension, your belly's going to get big. So one of the things that I try to do whenever I have somebody who's bloated is, number one, really figure out, are you actually constipated? Is that the root cause of why you're having your gut issues? Because if it is, I'll focus on the constipation and that will typically resolve the bloating. Now, a lot of my patients don't realize that even if you go every single day, you can still be constipated. Yes, you can. It is not the frequency of bowel movements that makes the difference. It is how effective that bowel movement is. So if you're one of those that has a kind of an okay bowel movement, but you don't feel like you're completely emptying everything out, even if you go every single day, in my mind, you are still constipated and you're going to have the consequences of that, including bloating. But if you're one of those that are like, you go once a week, but you're like, boom, I feel fantastic. Everything is coming out. I feel good. In my mind, even though you are maybe technically constipated, if you're having good complete bowel movements, I'm not even going to worry about it. It's not a big deal. So it's a very common correlation of having bloating with constipation. And so once we can resolve the constipation, a lot of the bloating issues will get better. Perfect. All right. Question number four I got, hey, Dr. Islam, does vitamin C prevent colds? So let me know in the comments, have you heard about this? So my parents have told me for a long time, whenever I get sick, drink orange juice, get some vitamin C, maybe emergency, get some of these supplements to hopefully prevent a cold or to prevent that sickness from going on. What does the evidence suggest? Let me know in the comments if you've heard this or not, because I have been told this by multiple different people, even family members who have told me that taking vitamin C really does help out when it comes to bowel habits. Now, here's what we do know. Vitamins, based on the evidence, vitamin C does not help to prevent you from getting a cold. Whether you take vitamin C or not, it doesn't help the prevention of that. But it does help in terms of making your symptoms better when you have a cold. It also helps out for you to recover faster when you do have a cold. So, yes, there is some evidence that vitamin C will not prevent a cold, but will help decrease the cold from getting worse and improve the recovery from the cold as well. So if you're one of those vitamin C fanatics that loves to have that whenever they're sick, there's some evidence to suggest that it's going to help out with your cold issues. So go team go. That's really good. All right, perfect. All right, good deal. Last question that I have before I go into some more questions. There's a question I got from YouTube who said, hey, Dr. Islam, do powdered green smoothies actually help? Well, it's kind of hard to say. So I'll tell you this. The whole point of getting a powdered green smoothie is to really get the vegetables that you need. Now, the reason you need the whole vegetable is a lot of different reasons. Number one, it's actually just more nutritious. So if you have a big vegetable or fruit, it is more nutritious to have that. But more importantly, number two is the amount of fiber that's in there. So it is that fiber content that acts as a prebiotic substance to improve what's going on in your gut microbiome. So prebiotics are substances to help feed the natural gut microbiome that I have and that you have. Everybody's gut microbiome is completely different. It's very unique. Just like your fingerprint is unique, so is your gut microbiome. Mine is different than yours, and it's different from my wife's. They're all very, very different. So because of that, we want to see if we can supplement what we naturally have. And the best way that we can do this is to add a prebiotic fiber. And the best prebiotic fiber that you can get out there are plants and vegetables. By far, these are things that help to supplement what is naturally inside you, boost up that good bacteria. By doing that, you can help out with a lot of gut issues. Now, the problem with these smoothies is that you eliminate that fiber. You eliminate that prebiotic substance. You eliminate that nutrition. And so you don't actually get the full effect as what you would get whenever you are trying to get a real food that's there. But also more importantly, you actually feel fuller at eating food. There is great evidence that actually eating food will help you feel fuller and help you lose weight as opposed to taking a supplement or a smoothie. It works very, very well in terms of eating the real thing. So in my opinion, it is better to eat the real thing. Now, if you can't do that, you don't have enough time, for some reason you don't like to have fruits and vegetables, then a powdered smoothie may be an option for you in that case. But if you can get the real thing, by far this can help out with your gut issues more than anything else. All right, perfect. All right, guys, these are the questions that I got on the various Instagrams, Facebooks, YouTubes, and emails that I've gotten. If you want to have me answer a question on a live video, do me a favor, send me a message, subscribe to my weekly newsletter. I'll put a link down below where you can get more information on what I talk about. And you can send me an email as well. I read all my emails and I try to answer questions I get. Also, a huge favor, if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to my weekly newsletter, share, like this video, and if you know somebody who may benefit from this video, I really would appreciate it if you would share this as well. The more shares that we have, the more it seems like the social media giants see what I'm doing, and we can hopefully help improve other people's lives. Guys, I want to thank you for watching. Hope you have a happy and healthy day, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week for my next Poop Tip Tuesday. I'll stay on a little bit longer in case you guys have any other questions. All right, perfect. All right, guys. Hope you guys have a happy and healthy day. Take care.